Hello, today we're going to talk about Google Sign-In. So today's tutorial, as usual, is going to be very simple. It's just going to have an app bar and two buttons. The two buttons will be a sign-in button and a sign-out button. And then we will display if the user is logged in or not through the app bar. So based on my research, it doesn't appear that you can do this with the iOS simulator. So you'll have to use either an actual device, an actual iOS device, or you'll have to use the Android emulator. We're going to be using the Android emulator today. And although this is technically part of the Firebase Auth series, we're going to start from scratch because it works a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and start by creating our project. And I'll type in code period to open it in VS Code. So now we're going to go into the Android app build.gradle file. We're looking for the application ID. You'll see that it says com.example. If you have a domain, I would suggest using it here. I believe you're safe if you just make it unique, but if you're going to be developing a lot of apps, I would suggest getting a domain. So I have a domain, so I'm going to change the example here to learn Flutter with me. And then I'm going to copy this and save it. Now I'm going to go to console.firebase.google.com and I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to click add project here. I'm going to name this Google Sign-In Demo. I'm going to disable Google Analytics since this is a tutorial. I'm going to click create project. It starts to create the project, and then once it's finished, we'll click continue here. So now that it's finished, we're going to click on this Android icon right here. The package name is the application ID we copied, so I'm going to paste that in here. Now normally we would skip these two fields, but we actually need this SHA1 field for Google Sign-In. So if you click on this little question mark here, you'll see this link here. It's going to take you to a page that it tells you to run this key tool. So you can run it for either Windows or Mac. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to run this one. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come back to my project and I'm going to open up Terminal. And I'm just going to paste that in there. The password you're going to want is Android, all lowercase. So you're going to see a series of numbers here. You'll see the SHA1 and the SHA256. We're wanting this SHA1 value. So I'm going to grab that and copy it. If you try to run key tool and it does not work, you may either be missing Java or it may not be in your path. So I will include a link for you to get more information on that. Come back over here and paste it in, and then I'm going to hit register app. So now we're going to download this google-services.json file. Once you have it downloaded, you need to make sure that there are no extra characters in the file name. The file name needs to look exactly like this. So for example, if you've downloaded it before, you might have parentheses and a 1 in there. You want to make sure that none of that is in the file name. We're going to take this and we're going to copy it into Android app. Now that we've done that, we can hit next here. Now you can do this part if you want to. This is stuff that we had to do for Cloud Firestore. I did not seem to need it for the tutorial, so if you do have any issues, you might come back and do this part. I'm just going to skip it though. And then I'll continue to console. So you should see the icon up here like this now. Now we're going to click on authentication. And then we're going to click on get started. We're going to find Google and we're going to click on the pencil. So we're going to enable it. And then we're going to make sure the project support email is selected. Going to hit save. Okay, that should be all we need to do there for now. So now we're ready to build the app itself. So I'm going to remove everything from here down. Going to change this to Google Sign-In app. I'm going to create a stateful widget by typing in STFUL. Type in Google Sign-In app. Then I'll create my material app, my scaffold, my app bar. We'll go ahead and run that. And we're looking good so far. So now we'll go ahead and install the Google Sign-In plugin. We'll open up our terminal. And I'm going to type in Flutter pub add Google Sign-In. If that was successful, you should be able to come down here into your pubspec YAML file, and you'll see it right there under dependencies. So we will now import that into our app. And right here at the top of Google Sign-In app state, we're going to add something. So this just initializes Google Sign-In, and if you look at the link to the tutorial on our website, there's a list of the scopes that you can use. So then right here in this widget build, under Google Sign-In app state, we're going to add a user variable. And we have a question mark here because user can be null if they're logged out. If they're logged in, user will have data. So down here in the app bar, we're going to add a ternary operator or a simplified if-then statement that will check to see if user is null. If user is null, we want to show that the user is signed out. Otherwise, we want to show that the user is signed in. So we saved that, and currently the user is signed out. So now we're going to create a body with 2 elevated buttons. And that's what those look like. So we'll go ahead and add the code in the onPressed for sign-in. And we'll set state so it will refresh once it signs in. Then we'll do the same thing for sign out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it and restart it just to make sure everything resets well. So if everything worked correctly, I should be able to click on sign in now. It's going to ask me to choose an account. I'm going to choose my Learn Flutter with Me account. And it should now say that I am signed in. Then I press the sign out button and it now says I'm signed out. So we'll do one minor cosmetic thing. We're going to disable the buttons based on the status of the user. So if they are signed in, we want to disable the sign in button. We can do that by looking to see if it is not null. So if the user is not null, which means they are logged in, we need to disable this button. Otherwise, we will display the button. We will do the reverse of that in the sign out button. So if the user variable is null, which means they are not logged in, we will disable the button. Otherwise, the button will display and be functional. So you'll see that the button is disabled since we were signed out. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And now you see that the sign in button is disabled now that I'm signed in. So that will do it for this tutorial. It was fairly cut and dry. I hope you didn't have a lot of issues, and gives you another way for your users to log into your app. So you might also like this video here, and if you're enjoying my videos, please consider subscribing. Thanks, and I hope to see you in the next one.